So why are you here? Why are you interested in this topic?
Why'd you come on a Saturday rainy morning?
Saturday rainy morning.
Yeah.
You're here. Well, let me remind you the topic. The topic is MBA application essays. So we're going to talk to you how to write an application essay for an MBA program. So what is an MBA program?
Yeah. What do you guys? You're how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. All right. You got school, and you're 15. Did you finish university?
Yes.
Good. All right. Are you looking to get a master's in business?
What business?
It's possible, maybe.
Maybe, I will think about it.
Okay. So an MBA exactly is not just business, but
Business administration.
It's business administration.
Business
Yeah.
and administration. So do you want to do masters in business and administration?
No.
Does anyone in here want to do masters? Yes. What is all we need?
I'm thinking for a couple of years, in fact, 2 years, very seriously, but I don't know where to start, how to go and do this.
Okay. Okay, cool. And you're the only one, MBA, kind of,
Yeah.
maybe? It's possible.
Maybe, yeah.
It's possible.
So master, but I was thinking what
Which
field.
field to go
Yeah.
to? Okay.
But Vasily, what is your field?
I also want to study business administration, but bachelor's.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, this will get you. You're preparing really early, man. That's all.
And Vasily, you have your deadline in a couple of weeks or something like this, yes?
Well, like this sooner.
Sooner, like in a week.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. So, just very briefly about the project. The project, this rating center, many of you already know, is financed by U.S. Embassy in Moldova. The idea is that we're helping people with rating, basically. At any stage of the writing process, you can get help. We organize these bi-weekly presentations on different aspects of writing. Like, I know that you four attended quite a few presentations already. Thank you very much for coming again. Also, if you are writing your personal statements, application essays, cover letters, articles, you can send them to us, to our address, or just bring them to us, and we will check them for you for free. Because
That's the coolest part.
that's the coolest part. Hello, Tatiana coming. So the address is ALC buyukan.rating@gmail.com. And please tell your friends if they need any help with writing, if they're university professors for writing articles, or school students or university students who are writing their application essays. We will be happy to help. If you're just writing long stories, we can also try to help. Okay. All right. But usually it works like this. You tell us like specifically why you're writing this, for which school, who's going to be your audience, who's going to read it, because then it helps us to figure out how to edit your paper and what suggestions to make. Okay. So today's presentation is about.
It's about writing an MBA. So this will be good. We'll do it. It'll be a good exercise in writing essays in general for applying to college. This is going to be specifically about an MBA essay, but it'll be good practice for you.
Yeah.
I think so.
But maybe one day you'll decide to do an MBA. Why not?
Right. So I mean, the preferred audience for this would probably be someone who's actually applying to a master's degree program right now for an MBA. But you'll learn some useful tips. So it's everyone has this packet, right?
Yes.
Why don't we get into 2 groups?
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't we get into 2 groups? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if I just counted that correctly. 1 group of 3, 1 group of 4. And I want you guys to just read through this and discuss in the group the best qualities about this essay, this gold essay. He was applying to the University of Chicago, Booth School of Business. So take a minute, read this, and then break up into 2 groups. How about the girls and the boys? And then
kind of like sit in a circle and talk to each other. So what do you want to do?
So first I want you to read it quickly as you can, and then I want you to read it and discuss the. What should I say?
Well, we want you to discuss what is good about this essay, or maybe what is bad. Okay? So read it. This is a real letter written by a real student who got into this school, Chicago Booth School of Business. Okay, and it's the third best business school in the United States after Harvard and Stanford.
Yeah.
So this letter got him in, and it's not a perfect letter, but it's a good one. Okay,
And the reason, and this is it's a short one. Probably yours will be a little longer. But this is a real essay they got him in. So check it out, read it quickly, and then I want you guys to discuss. Each group should have about 3 specific things they liked about the writing style. Not his career. Don't say I liked that he was a programmer. Right? I want you to say what was good about the style. Keeping in mind these are application essays, right? Why is it a good essay for an administrator reading 1,000 essays? Why is it going to make him stand out? Why is it going to represent him well in a short period of time? Stuff like this, okay? Take a minute, read this.
I lost my way.
So as soon as you find something positive, interesting about this essay, feel free to share it with your group. Okay? So you're sharing in your group of 4, you're sharing in your group of 3. Please start sharing. I'll give you 1 more minute. Probably.
Yeah. Take 1 more minute to finish up, if you need, and then we're gonna have you talk in 50 seconds.
What's good about it?
Yeah, or if you,
Hey man, if you find something bad, you can.
Yeah.
Something you didn't like. Mention it.
please. Please join us. We actually need 1 extra person here. So we have a group of 4 gentlemen, and now we have a group of 4 ladies. Please join us. How do you put your pose?
What do you have, girls?
Would you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I would write this in one sentence.
What?
All this.
Really?
Yeah, but we know that it's 500 words threshold, so we have to respect.
So how would you do that in one sentence? Would it be a very long, round-on sentence?
I would say like being a research programmer and getting an experience working in a software company. Now I want to become an entrepreneur in a digital marketing technology space. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. This is my goal from the MBA.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, that would be very nice, to receive an essay like this, which is one sentence long.
Right. It would make our job much easier.
Their job much easier.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I didn't hear, what was your sentence that you said?
So I said like being a research programmer and having an experience working in a software company, startup software company. Now I want to become an entrepreneur in a digital marketing technology space.
Okay. Well, this is the opposite of, don't listen to me, it's not going to be sure. This is the opposite of what an essay is used for, right? So all that stuff you said basically could be found on your resume, your CV, your transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah. The essay is when you're supposed to make yourself a person, right?
Mhm.
Because you're just a piece of paper, really. The essay is your only opportunity to make yourself into someone more three-dimensional, someone that they'll remember, someone another quality of you that makes you attractive. It's competitive. It's number 3 business school in the world. So a one-sentence thing that just says where you worked and what you and the field you want to go into. It goes against the whole purpose of the essay. Yeah.
So everything you said was already on the CV, which you also attach. So you don't need to read any personal statement at all if you want to read before you write a personal statement like this.
So what is the main goal of the essay is to show the character, a person.
It's the show. I mean, it's your only chance to speak up, right? It's your only chance to say something. Yeah? And as you'll see in the presentation, right? You're gonna want to make yourself seem like a person, so people remember, right? These guys who are admission officers are not. It's not like some great big committee who's very well thought of. There's a guy going through reading 100 essays at a time, 100 applications, 100 CVs. So what you have to do is make yourself memorable, make yourself noticed, and also make them, push them. The open essay would push them into thinking that this guy needs to be here more than that guy, right? So it's an exercise in convincing someone. Yeah. So it's not something to be taken lightly. How early do we recommend them starting essays before applications due? 1 month at least. Yeah, 1 month at least. And I know maybe most of you here probably Moldovans, me, Vladimir, right? Maybe we do start applications like a few days before it's due. But an essay for a master's in a competitive field like this is something you're really going to want to write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, and it's important. So, what did you guys think that was good about it? Yes, ma'am.
That he gives a lot of information about himself.
Okay, good. Personal information, right? Okay. How is it structured? This essay. Does it start off with its accomplishments? What did you think of the structure? Good form.
Chronological order.
Okay, chronological order. Okay, did it make sense for you guys? The structure? It was simple, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of jumping around. Good. Anything else? Good.
You make some personal details about his personality.
Yes. Right.
Attitudes.
I'm sorry. Aptitude? Yeah. That's great. Specifically where, for example?
It's the first paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about his curiosity, his leadership skills,
Mm-hmm.
and organization.
How does he? Let's talk about that. The leadership skills. Where does it talk about the leadership skills? It's at the last line of the first paragraph,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. How does he phrase? Who wants to read that sentence for me? Why don't you read the sentence? And how does he phrase it? How does he phrase it?
Noticing my communication, leadership, and organizational skills, the IT director soon tasked me with leading a multi-campus team to implement a student portal.
Good. Anyone notice anything interesting about this? How he presented it?
Through the eyes of another person.
Through the eyes of another person, right? He didn't just say, I have good leadership skills, blah blah blah, right?
It's like a recommendation of somebody.
Yes. And this is a subtle difference, but it's huge. It's huge. It makes it very different. Yeah. It lends some credibility to it. Yeah, and it makes it seem more real. Because
it's kind of dialogue where he introduced the opinion of another person.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just from his eyes, the point of view.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great thing. Something else? Anyone else? Yeah.
Every sentence in the paragraph is connected to each other.
Very nice. This is a great point, right? Not just the structure, chronological order, but every sentence introduces the next sentence, the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. Okay? Great thing to notice. Yep. Anything else?
He is not ashamed by using such words like fascinating. I was fascinating, so
I was fascinating.
He tells from the first step, his great wish or his love
Okay.
for something, computers. It's what he is about.
Yes.
About computers, but his attitude is.
Okay.
He is a good. He has a main goal.
Good.
Computers.
Okay. We see some motivation, and it's not just. It's not just the word fascinating, right?
Yeah.
We see him as a person. We see it started from when he was a kid, and we see that it carries through his life. We see actually not just that he's had a job for 1 or 2 years that you might see on the CV, but he lets us know that his whole since he was a teenager, he's been building towards this, and likely he's going to continue. Yeah. Cool. Good. Anything else, guys? Ladies?
It's interesting how he presented how the company where he served was, had a profit, yeah. The company, the second paragraph. His contribution led to transforming the company to a market leader.
Okay. So he's listing.
It means he talks that I'll be useful for your company.
Good. Very nice. It's a good way to present his accomplishments in a meaningful way. Yeah.
He talks not only about his achievements but also about his goals, both short-term, long-term goals.
Yes.
I think that's what universities look for.
Yes, guys, that's a great point. Yeah, guys, most university essays, undergraduate, whatever, masters, one of the essays is probably going to be what you're going to do with this education. Yeah, you're going to have to talk about your goals. You should have a reason for applying. That being said, right, if you, let's say you write that you want to be let's say that you write that you want to be an accountant or something like this, right? And you always love accounting. If you go there for 2 years, you get a scholarship, you graduate, and you don't become an accountant, are they going to take your degree away? Are they going to take your diploma away from you? No, it doesn't matter, right? So you should have a sincere idea of what you want to do, a well-reasoned argument of how this works towards your goal. But don't worry and don't procrastinate saying I have to figure out the rest of my life first before I tell them what my goal is going to be. Think of a nice thing and make it convincing. Think of a nice goal, make it convincing, like that. Anything else, ladies? No?
So we could say about also that his career, he has already a career. He describes it here. So he begins with engineer, then he's a programmer, and then he wants to become. He is a manager of selling programs. So the program he's not just to create programs, but to sell them, so to be profitable. And he ends up as an entrepreneur. So he is creating his own. He he probably is about to create his own
Established
hire
company.
people, and
Mhm.
so this is a good career
Good.
that he described.
Yes, good, achievable, good. Let's go. So then, you want to go from there? We're gonna go. Those are all good things you noticed, guys. We're gonna mention a few more things of what makes this nice.
Yeah. So we wanted first maybe to talk about do's, like what you need to do on to write a good essay, but we thought that it can be more interesting to talk about don'ts, things about which you should not do and should not have in your MBA application essay. There is a very interesting research which we found by one interesting university where they're talking about cases of death. Okay? So they say that this application, this admission committee members review a lot of essays, check and read a lot of applications. And they say that usually there might be like a good application of a good candidate with interesting background, which possibly might get into school. But when he has one of these things, one of these cases of death, it usually prevents him from entering the school. So this is like a problem, a big problem, a big issue. So we're going to talk about 4 big issues, 4 big problems, 4 big things which you want to avoid. And you have this handout with you, which says avoid 4 cases of death in your MBA application essay. Okay? So what are these 4 things? The first one, is called the first case of death, is rambling. Okay? Rambling, what is rambling?
You guys know what rambling is? No. Rambling is.
It's like you don't. You want to say something but you don't know or something like that.
Yeah, you don't really get to the point. You sort of meander, you wander, and you just get blah 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 blah. and blah, blah,
Too
blah.
much, not at the topic.
Yes.
It jump from one topic to another topic.
Right.
Yes. So if you read your MBA essay and find that it lacks a linear progression, beginning, middle, and end, then your essay is most likely rambling. Yes.
So you guys, when you guys read that essay we just read, most of you remarked that it had some structure. Yeah. Would you say that this essay was rambling at all? No. I'd say it's pretty compact and pretty well.
Yeah. Here we have one possible example of rambling, because you know they usually say that if you ramble, then you usually do the following thing. You just talk about different experiences of yours. You know, this and that, this and that. There is no linear progression. It's just like a mix of different experiences. And then you describe how amazing, incredible, and great the school you want to study is. And then just beg and ask them to take you. Just say, oh, please take me. I'm the right candidate. Okay? But this is not very sophisticated structure, not very interesting essay to read. And here is an example.
Yeah, here's an example. You guys know JFK, right?
You know JFK?
Okay. This is JFK. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is actual essay for going to Harvard. Let's take a read. Let's read it. You want to read it first? Yeah, go ahead and read it out loud.
The reasons that I have for wishing to go to Harvard are several. I feel that Harvard can give me a better background and a better liberal education than any other university. I have always wanted to go there, as I have felt that it is not just another college, but it is a university with something definite to offer. Then too, I would like to go to the same college as my father. To be a Harvard man is an enviable distinction, and one that I sincerely hope I shall obtain.
Okay, that's the whole essay. That's it. That's what he wrote and what he said. And then his application at Harvard. Do you guys know where he graduated from?
He got in.
Yes.
Got in?
Yes. He graduated from Harvard. So this got him in, but he's JFK. Okay. He's JFK. He's John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, you guys aren't John F. Kennedy. Okay. He was rich. Dad's in the mafia, politician, right? You guys aren't that. You guys aren't going to get in with this essay. Yeah. Does he say anything specific in here?
Yes. He say a lot of good things about
Any,
the place he is going to.
are they specific?
Yeah, well, he says it's a enviable distinction or.
Is that specific? Why does he like Harvard so much?
But,
Because
no.
His father graduated
His
from-
desire.
Yeah, it sounds like the best.
Well, he describes Harvard as the best place to get into.
Well, I wouldn't say he says it's the best place to
Yeah.
get to. I wouldn't say he describes it in detail.
So, yeah. So this is the special for Harvard people. I mean, he's flattering, and he got in. So
Yes, but that's not the point I want to make,
Yeah.
right? Okay, the point I want to make, man, is he didn't get in through flattery, man. He got in because he was the son of Joseph Kennedy. Okay? So this is the point. This is not a good essay. I promise you, if you guys write this, I promise you're not going to go. And I promise you they're not going to be like, oh, that's so nice what they said about us here. It's not going to happen. So this is an example. I showed Vladimir just as a and Vladimir really attached this to the idea of rambling, and I see his point. He doesn't really say, he says nothing really concrete. It's mush. And it's nothing. This is an example of what not to do. Yeah, I'm sure he did this 5 minutes before he put it in the mailbox. Yeah, not saying he's a bad guy, just not a great essay. But rambling for sure.
Yeah, and you say that he's specific, but really, you can probably say that about many different universities. Like,
Yeah, you could take out. By the way, this is the exact same essay he wrote also to Princeton. Right? I can show you his letter. And he just took out Harvard, put Princeton, and then took out the part about his dad because his dad didn't go to Princeton. And so the Princeton essay was just one line shorter. It just ended here.
about his father.
Yeah, he took out the part about his father because he didn't go. So this is his Princeton essay. Okay? I don't know if he got it. I don't know. But yeah. So,
but if you can send your essay to multiple universities, it's a sign that. Sign of what?
That you are not.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not specific. It's a general letter.
mhm.
It's very general. You don't tell a story, just send it everywhere.
Yeah. Generic.
Generic.
Like nothing specific. Yeah.
What if it's the same? It's the same program at 2 or 3 universities.
If it's exactly the same program, yeah, I guess so. Sure, but and I don't think there's such a thing as two schools having like exactly the same program or exactly the same connections or something like this. You're going to be you're going to want to be specific about some things. There's going to be something about the school, something unique about the school that you're going to want to mention. Maybe you can find 2 identical programs. I don't know, but it seems difficult. To
Okay. So case of death number 1, rambling. Here's an example. Here is how to fix it.
Vladimir loves this.
I love this chart. You have it in your handouts. It's just amazing. This is what we Moldovans have problem with when we write in English. Just look at this. We could have just stopped here. Let's just stop here and go home.
Yeah. It's really
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know about writing an essay. Right? So what does this mean? P1, P2, P3, P4, P5.
Mhm.
Paragraphs. They're logically connected. Paragraph 4 follows paragraph 5 follows paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 follows paragraph 3. There's one unifying idea, okay, which gives structure and linear progression to the whole essay. But then also look at this thing. What is happening inside paragraph 1? S stands for sentences.
Sentences.
That's what you mentioned, right? That sentence 5 in this paragraph follows sentence 4, and sentence 4 follows sentence 3. It's not sentence 1, sentence 5, sentence 11, sentence 2, sentence 6.
Mhm.
No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Do you see this in the essay which we read at the beginning? Do you see it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes?
Yeah,
yes,
we
yes.
have.
Can you show it to me? Like for example, if we have a look at the first paragraph. So where is this linear progression? Is it here? Is it in this essay?
Yeah, as a chronological. As a teenager, then after he.
Okay, so first as a teenager.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he's talking about his bachelor's degree. Okay, and then master's. Yes, and then how he started his career.
His career, yeah.
Yes.
And, yes.
Okay.
This is actually the end of the first paragraph, which could be entitled Youth. Yes. And then the next is.
So this is this. Yeah, that's a good point. So this entire paragraph is about his education.
Answering. He's choosing his field.
Okay.
Because he begins with visual striking games and movies and something
Okay.
which is not actually nothing. But then he, at the end of the paragraph, he is already the research programmer.
Okay. And the second paragraph then?
He enters software.
Already like a worker.
Work experience.
Yes.
Yes. How he developed professionally.
Yes.
Okay.
And he works, and he already see the vital role that in transforming the company to a market leader.
Yeah.
So
And then his educational background.
he understands in the second paragraph. He understands that he was a programmer, like he was with programs. But now vital role is he wants to become a businessman. This is
Okay.
MBA.
Yeah. Yes.
Because what is
And also
MBA
his
for
goals.
programming? Nothing. But he, in the second paragraph, he like changes a little bit the tune. He understands that finally he must to take some money. So the people who are, he is not expecting people to give him the money. He wants to become himself a manager. He becomes an IT manager already at the end of the second paragraph.
To take money or to make money.
Well, to take the money from the market, I mean, to give-
Normal businessmen make money. Moldovan businessmen probably take money.
It's like you may sit in a, well, you got the point.
Yes.
And already he ends as product manager already. He is the end on the second paragraph. He's already as a product manager. He was a research program. Yeah, a product manager is the one who sells programs. He already doesn't make them. He so.
Product manager.
Yeah, and he wants to become already a businessman as an entrepreneur. That is his goal.
Yeah. So we see this linear progression: education, career, goals. Okay. It's in this essay. Thank you. Thank you. This was Kiss of Death number 1, and it looks like the guy doesn't have this Kiss of Death, and he does, which is great. You should not have it as well. Okay, next one. Any questions about rambling? No?
Well, what do you guys point at? It's in chronological order, right? It's probably a good one to use, chronological order, but it's not. You could probably do it another way if you have like a, if it's an obvious logic behind it. If it's not, there's a reason. Yeah, but if you're not sure, go ahead and stick it.
It's not always the best idea. So many people in Moldova write their essays, application essays, they start like this: I was born.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. Don't start from that.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
What's bad about this?
It sounds like I don't know. It sounds like a cliche. It sounds like you never grew out of the essays you were writing in like third and fourth form, and I see it a lot. I saw it a lot at university. Whenever I would have my students write, it really was like that. I am from a beautiful village named Hinchest. In Hinchest, it seemed like every essay started like this. Hi, my name is Maria, and I'm a very happy person. No. Okay? Not stuff like that. I don't know how.
But can you give an
Yeah. It's telling your life like a fairy tale. It's not what we need. It's not relevant.
an example of non-chronologic order?
Well, let's say that you jumped around a lot in your career or your education. Let's say that you were interested in one topic. Let's say first you were interested in music, then you switched and you were interested in biology. Then later you became interested in mathematics, and then after you became interested in business, right? If that were the case, probably chronological order wouldn't be the best way to start, right? Better than you could play it to your favor. You could make it. You could show yourself as being diverse, having a background in lots of different things. But you would have to figure out a way to structure that. I guess you could do it by. I guess you could do it based on like order of. I guess you do it like based on disappointments and therefore like epiphanies you had about which direction you want to take your life. You could organize it in different ways. So like decisions about your life, you could make it about.
Yeah.
So,
Look, another way to organize it, we have an essay which we don't have. You don't have it on your handout, but it starts like this. It starts. A lady is writing this essay, and she is imagining her in 2030. So the first paragraph is about that. She says it's like I don't know, 16th of January 2030, and I'm like in Bangkok, and I have this meeting, and then I fly to Geneva, and then I have a conference call, and then she says this is the lifestyle which I want to have by 2030. And
so she begins with the long-term goal.
yeah.
And very specifically, like how she sees herself. And this was also an essay that was accepted. Too.
And then she says what she already knows, and what she already has done, and what she needs to learn to get there by 2030. And then she explains why that school where she applied is the best place to acquire the skills which she needs to get where she wants to get.
Did she answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 I would like to add some words about the logic. So logic can be different. That's why it is very important to pay attention what logic to follow. So if we follow a wrong logic,
Yes.
so this essay could turn out a total rebel. It could be, it could follow logically one logic, but for another logic, it could be a rebel. And,
Yes.
the logic is provided by the question.
That's right.
So for this, for the logic provided by this question, this essay is a rebel from my point of view, because the applicant wasn't asked to describe his experience in chronological way. He was asked to provide totally different information beside the information he actually provided.
That's a very interesting point.
So from my viewpoint, this essay is a rebel.
Well, no, I'd say that how does MBA at this point in your life help you achieve? So explaining how he got to this point in his life, I would say is
no. So he is asked to describe something that will happen in the future, and he almost all his essay describes something that happened in the past. He wasn't asked to describe his experience. He wasn't asked to describe how this MBA will help him in the future to attain his short and long-term goals. So the first two paragraphs.
But how do you imagine this? Like, all the essay would be about future. I want to be this. I want to do that. I want to achieve this.
No,
I want
not
to show
all
this
the
kind of
essay.
thing. I want to do so.
He could mention some past experience, but not to devote to them the main part of the.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Maybe
Yeah, the last.
he should done some research on MBA and mention some things about MBA, especially.
His specific one, yeah. Well, that's what he's saying too. He's saying he should have put more focus on where he's going, what his goals are, right? How it's going to help him specifically in the future. And I think we'll talk about that in a second. And we agree. So this one, this is not a perfect essay. This is not devote enough time probably to the main question. That's an excellent point.
Well, let's have a look. Let's jump. Thanks for your input. Let's jump to Keys of Death number 3. which is lack of information about the program to which you are applying. Okay? So you need to avoid statements that reflect a generic approach to the application process or an unfamiliarity with the program to which you're applying. These statements signal you haven't made an honest effort to learn about the program from which you're saying you want to earn your graduate degree. And let us show you an example. Okay? This is a bad example. I want to go to your school because of the phenomenal curriculum, diverse student body, and access to top-notch professors.
By the way, you guys know top notch?
No.
Top notch just means the best, creme de la creme, the best,
Best of the
Slivki.
best of the best, top notch.
Elite. Elite.
The elite, the elite.
Yeah. So why is this sentence bad?
It's general.
To arrogant.
Okay. So according to, well, it lacks information about the program which it applies. It doesn't say anything specific about professors, anything specific about student body, anything specific about curriculum. Like you can write this about like 25, 50 schools probably.
Yeah. Every school probably.
Every
Every school in their brochure is going to say we're becoming diverse. We have diverse professors, so it's not saying anything. It's,
Yeah.
What do you say? Do you say kasha or do you say grishka? How would you? Which one's the proper comparison?
Kasha.
Kasha.
Probably kasha. No, bitch.
It's kasha. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Slow
You
down.
know, it's like
Водичка.
we have here not very far a place which is called Kebab Fabulos, like fabulous
Ah,
kebab.
yes.
And they're claiming that they have the best
That's
kebab in Chisinau. And I'm sure that about 50 or 60% of all kebab shops say that they have the best one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think words kebab and fabulous, they're not to combine.
They did it.
I disagree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you want and everybody else wants, but don't waste the word count of your essay by giving information that is assumed. Okay? If you didn't think the curriculum phenomenal, and if you didn't think the professor is top-notch, you wouldn't be applying. So give them some insight into what you add to the school and be very specific about what you can take away. Okay? So we need to be more specific.
They already know the guys working there. They work for the university. They already know they're good. They already know they have a good school, right? They don't want to hear you telling them that they're good. They're like, oh, thanks. Yeah. You want to say specific stuff.
Okay. So how to fix it? This problem, if you have it in your essay right now, very easy. You need to research the program to which you're applying. Do extensive research. Read a lot about the program, reviews, about the professors, about what these professors are interested in. I mean the professors who work in that department. What kind of articles they wrote recently, or books, what kind of subjects they're teaching. Try to find connections. Maybe you're interested in something which a certain professor in this department is also interested in. Maybe you can write a letter to that professor, start a conversation. These professors answer, they have emails, not like professors in Moldova.
Yeah,
Use
really.
Emails.
That's true. But I have noticed. I was looking at applying to some master's programs a few years ago, and I was amazed how I was applying to. I was thinking to apply to one school for journalism, for example. Right? I read this article I really liked by a guy. I looked it up. I saw he was a professor at this university, Columbia University, Ivy League school. I wrote the guy an email asking him what he thought about the program, blah, 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 blah. And he wrote me back a week later. Beautiful, beautiful essay, probably like 6 paragraphs, etc., etc., etc. Professors, they're not all going to write you back, but by and large, if you write a professor and tell him that you're interested in something, what he's doing, etc., 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 they're usually pretty good at getting back to people if it's a sincere question. So don't be afraid to send an email. Don't be creepy. Don't send tons and tons and tons of emails. But you'll be surprised how responsive a lot of these professors will be. Yeah, if you want to just out of the blue. You don't have to know them. You don't have to introduce yourself excessively. Just pop them a question. You'll get responses. You'll get responses for sure.
It's really fascinating experience when you have a conversation with a real professor in your university. So you should try this. So let's go back to our essay and actually have a look if this guy has done enough research about the program to which he's applying. This one. But we're going back to the same essay. First one. Chicago Booth School of Business. Yes, this one. So can you show me specific information about the program? By the way, as you can see, he's applying for the evening MBA program or weekend MBA program specifically. So what kind of information do we have about these programs, you know, about professors who work there, what courses they teach, about their research interests, about the school?
So he mentions,
It's the last one.
it's always in the last part.
And
He tells that he in the first two he describes as a base, as a pad, when he's standing on that, and he wants to change the speciality. He wants to become a manager.
yes,
And he talks about not only manager but advertising technology industry that he has to be familiar with, and in the special operations and management skills that an MBA has to offer.
yes. But would you say that there is lack of information about the program to which he wants to apply?
Yeah,
Or
there is a
that-
lack. There is a lack.
Why?
He doesn't tell about anything about a special this also working together with future leaders as group.
Yeah, look, he mentions MBA program 2 times.
No, he supposes that he may be helped and he an MBA
An MBA.
has to offer.
So 2 times is an MBA.
He needs an MBA.
An MBA.
Not specifically this one, but it's not the worst things to
Look,
say.
in the task, it says the evening MBA program. And he's applying for an MBA.
He needs an MBA. It's not the worst. It's a good one. Anyway.
But it doesn't matter which one. Yeah. For
Yeah.
him it's not
So he
doesn't
def-
matter.
would you say that he has this kiss of death number 3 in his essay?
Yeah, he has it.
But still good, but he still got in.
But
Lucky.
but yeah. So this is, guys. This is like we said. This is not a perfect essay. It's okay. That should be improved, right? If you're going on a date, let's say you're going out on a date. Let's make it from the woman's perspective. You're on a date with a guy, and the guy says, "What do you like about me?" And she just goes, "You're a man." Okay. Is that nice? No, it's horrible, right? Okay.
What did you say? You're a man.
But that's awesome. That's awesome. It depends on how you use your style.
But when she says, when he says, what do you like about me? And she says, I like about you, and gives him the perfect description, like in 100 sentences.
Yes.
Points, like, I like about you, this.
Yes.
This is horrible too.
Okay. Sorry. Not the perfect metaphor. But okay, all right. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Sorry. Just wanted to make that point. Right.
Okay, so let's go back to kiss of death number 2. So number 2 is blandness, lack of stories, lack of real life experiences. So what is bland?
Bland? No?
When you're not different from
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah, boring, general.
Maybe if a food has no flavor, you can say it's bland. Yeah. If there's no seasoning or something. It's bland.
Okay. So bland, uninspiring personal statements provide little to no insight about the applicant. So what does it mean, no insight about the applicant?
Nothing personal. Nothing that's not written in the CV.
So not relevant facts about his experience. No insight.
Yeah, so you see here is a picture of a guy who kind of like stands out from the crowd. So the submission committee members, they read the essay and they say, "Ooh, interesting guy."
Or maybe he doesn't know too well about himself. Yeah,
Mhm.
his strong points or weak points.
Yeah.
He is not aware about his uniquity. Poem, yeah, like to advertise yourself.
Yes, yes. You need to think a lot about your experiences and your life and your values and your background to figure out what interesting you have, what kind of story you can tell in this application essay.
And I guess two reasons for that, right? One being you want the essay to be more interesting, and I guess a similar reason. You want to be remembered. You want to be remembered from the stack of papers, right? So stack of papers, guy, cup of coffee in his office, one essay, next essay, next essay, next essay. If you put insight about yourself, if you something tangible, yeah.
Something unique. I mean, that makes you unique.
Yeah.
Apart from
Right. I would say something unique and not even necessarily unique, but three-dimensional.
yes.
Yeah. Something that makes you stand out as a person. Because there's going to be a lot of bland essays. There's going to be a lot. So, ways to make it not bland? Ways to make it not bland? What would you say? Ways to make it not bland. So, like, if we look at this first one, how is it not bland? Is this bland? Is bland the whole essay? No?
Well, he writes about his teenager years, his career, specific information.
Okay.
But he has certain specific goals for his life. He's a goal-oriented person.
Okay, that's good. You said no. What could have been better? What was too bland? What could he have?
Yes, he is bland because he provides no insights. He just provides some facts about his past experiences, but all those facts are not relevant for
To answer the question?
for the readers. Yes. I think it would be better if he would mention, not describe extensively, but would mention some of his challenges in the past. He tried to solve, to overcome, but he failed because he realized afterwards because of lack of knowledge. And that's why he applied for this MBA, because he hopes to get those knowledge.
That's wonderful. That's a great example, right? So then we know him. That's insight into the character of the guy, right? Great.
Maybe also he could mention some famous examples. Like,
Does this provide? I would say did you bring the smaller the list of did you print out the smaller list of stuff we should include?
We have it here.
Okay. Does that give, if you use famous examples, right?
Yeah.
Or quotes,
Yeah.
does that give insight about the applicant?
No.
Not really. So I recommend against using quotes or famous examples.
In a personal statement.
In a personal statement. Yeah.
It's a statement. Okay. Another.
But if this quote represents your life philosophy.
I'm not saying it's forbidden, but I recommend steering clear of it. I recommend you saying your philosophy through your own words. Yeah. I don't know. Do you really have a quote that represents your whole personal philosophy?
Well, I have.
Really?
For example, attitude is determines your altitude.
Say it again.
Attitude defines your altitude. Determines your altitude.
Determines your altitude.
Yeah.
Okay, attitude determines your altitude. This seems a little generic. Yeah, for an essay where every word is going to count. Yeah, you're saying, if you have a good attitude, you can achieve more, right? But this is there's lots of ideas like this, lots of quotes like this. You can say this about yourself. You can demonstrate that you know this. You can write them and demonstrate that you've done this in your life. That would be preferable to a quotation mark of attitude is altitude, for sure. And in fact, I would probably be annoyed if I was reading it and I saw like little motivational quotes. I think I don't think it's very appropriate for the personal statement so much.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Example of blandness and lack of stories. Have a look at these two sentences. Which one do you like more? Which one is better? Which one has to be improved? Can you read it?
My career interest is in blending analytical thinking with business acumen to solve challenging problems. And I grew up helping my dad, an electronics engineer, repair television, radios, and anything that needed to be fixed around the house, as I was naturally drawn to applying analytical knowledge to solve problems.
The second is more interesting.
It's more personal.
Mm-hmm.
It express personal
Yes.
details. And usually the stories catch our attention more.
Yeah, it's a story. It's a life experience. It's catchy.
And it's only one sentence. Yeah, he gets the point in that one sentence, right? It doesn't meander about his past, right? It's not staying there talking about what his dad is like, what his mom is like. No, it gets to the point relatively quickly, but it makes it personal at the same time. Yeah, you have to find that balance. You have to find the balance.
Right. So this is the problem number 2, blandness. How to fix it? To fix blandness issues in an MBA essay, just imagine that the essay is an honest, intimate conversation about your dreams. And then you will not be generic, general. You will be more open to share the story with another person.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Blossoming
Yes.
flower.
Sorry?
Like a blossoming flower.
Like a blossoming flower.
Since you're attempting to enter the MBA program, you already represent something.
Yeah, you already
by
need to-
yourself, and the goal is to find it. Like when you read your essay and you find it's all those 4 pieces of decision like kissed 4 times, and you have to understand that as I want this, I have something, so you have to find it to make it acceptable.
Yeah?
A question.
Yeah.
I see people write many things in their letters, like where they work, where they study, and so on. But who can prove that really this person was
Has done
there?
this?
Yeah.
Great
So-
point.
Maybe some people can write in motivation letter that they have been there and dare to think and so on.
I'm afraid that probably happens. Yeah.
So,
And yes, and your question
I
is?
mean, that person who maybe he lied and he could be
Chosen. Yeah. Yes. People. I mean, that's we don't call it lying. We call it embellishing. Yeah. Making it a little cooler than it is, right? So, for example, when I applied to my Fulbright here in Moldova, right, I may have made it seem like that I spoke Russian very well, which wasn't necessarily true, right? The benefits of lying, right? Probably don't outweigh the risks of it, especially now. And also the fact that you don't need to have amazing experiences in the essay. Right? If you want to lie and put it on your CV, that's one thing, and it's risky. They can go back, check references, stuff like this, right? In the personal essay, when you can write about anything and you can make your motivation, you can depict your motivation through any means you want, it's not necessary for you to lie. You can find a way to make an argument through any experiences you may have actually had. And so, if you're honest, you're gonna write better than if you're lying. If you're honestly talking about your life experience and how it makes you feel, and that it's actually a thing. I mean, I'm assuming if you guys are going to apply for an MBA, it's not easy. You're gonna have to apply for that. You're gonna have to apply for scholarship money. I'm going to assume that's something you actually really want to do. And I would suggest saying honestly why you really want to do that is going to produce a more convincing essay, at least, than just lying about stuff. Lying on your CV, I don't know, maybe you're really good at that. Maybe you have like friends with lots of phones that can call and be different characters. I don't know. If you have something like that, maybe good luck. But it seems a little risky.
Yeah, it's not like lying, it's like being ambitious. You like expand your ambitions. I want to do this, I want to achieve that.
If I write I want, yes, but if you write I did that, this is other thing.
Yes, but if you're talking about the future, you should be aiming high.
Okay,
Yes.
People say if you're aiming high, usually like we achieve like 50% if we are aiming at. If you're aiming higher, you just achieve more because 50% of more is more.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, think about it. But you know, it's about how you write and how you get your idea across. And this is a little different because it wasn't an MBA. But for example, when I had to write my personal statement to go to university in America, I went to a very good university. The story I used to tell wasn't about all the activities I did, being in an orchestra, being a volunteer at the church. I didn't talk about that. I told a story about my dad getting drunk and taking me on a motorcycle one night, and also he's blind and we got pulled over by the police. I used this story, right? And it got me in, okay? Because I chose that story, I found elements of that story that I thought would be interesting, and I projected that into the path I kind of want to take in life and how I think this school can help me. It's a similar idea.
How did you connect it to the path you wanted to take in life? How?
I don't know, it was like 10 years ago now.
How? Like the drunk dad takes you in a motorbike. Stopped by police.
Yes, I related to the sensations I had. Yeah, it was like describing the moment and then how I felt, and deciding that I liked this feeling of adventure, something like this. I don't know. I was a kid when I wrote it. You know, it was 10 years ago. But it was something like this. You can find a way to say it. You can find a way to say it, and have it be effective. Is the point. I don't really remember when I did it, but the point is it was that story, and it got me into school. So you don't need to lie and say that you're already like a master administrator if you're not. I'm sure you can find a good example. Hey, being a girl from Moldova is interesting enough. Really, if you're applying to a Western university. Yeah.
It's not.
Huh?
I know it's not.
Only girl or also boy?
Huh?
Only girls from Moldova or boys?
For me, it's more interesting when it's but I'm not an admissions officer, so thank God. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, another story, I remember one lady wrote about her experience, her story. She was like in a camp in Greece, I think, international camp, people from different countries, and they woke them up at night and took them to the beach. And on the beach they saw how these turtle eggs were hatching, and very, very little turtles were coming out of the sand, and they were helping them, pushing them towards the water. And they were doing this, the international people from different countries. Some of them even didn't speak the same language, but they were like working together towards the same goal. And this is how she linked to doing her degree, studying like Europeanization, so European integration and stuff like this. So different countries, people from different nationalities can work together on the same project if they have a common objective, something like that. That's what inspired her.
Right.
Story.
And by the way, so this is like that example. Yeah, my example of the story, right? Maybe the connections we made weren't the strongest, right? But if you present it in a good way, it's great. If you don't ramble, right? If you ramble, they're gonna get lost in the story. And then if you ramble, and at the end say, "This taught me about international cooperation." Okay, that's not a good thing. But if you say succinctly like, "This happened and it had this effect on me. This happened and it had this effect. This happened, this had this effect." That's a better way to do it, right? It's about structuring. It's about structuring it, editing it, shortening it, all that. Yeah, that's right.
And the way to handle words, okay, skillful.
Yeah. And how do you do that? Is you there's an expression in writing, kill your babies. Yeah.
You write something, maybe you fall in love with it. You think, oh, that's so great how I wrote that, right? Be prepared to just cut it out completely, yeah? Let people read it, huh?
You fell in love with this.
You fall in love with it. You gotta kill it. You gotta get rid of it, yeah? This is why this is such a cool place. You have other people to read your essay for you, to help you, or your friends or something. If someone says, I'm missing the idea here, and you're saying, no, I put this, this means so much, don't you see? You need to kill it. You need to kill it and write it a different way, so so the reader understands it as well as possible. But this is about writing in general, but it's important.
So it's a good thing to apply for a help to ask someone to read
Absolutely.
the essay and be very humble to hear his opinion.
Yes. Do not be defensive if someone's helping you out reading your essay. Yeah. For sure. Mm-hmm.
Maybe is the way to write in Romanian or Russian and then to translate it in English first.
Don't do that.
No,
Okay.
the
Why?
meaning will be lost.
The meaning will be lost. Also, I hate I don't know Romanians like structure in terms of like sentences, right? Like these long Romanian sentences that get translated into English. They make me want to kill myself.
I had a teacher at the
Oh, it's a bad
university.
translation actually.
Sometimes no, but the punctuation is different. Yeah.
Speaking second language is good, but also it's important when you start to think in that language. I had a teacher at the university, and she was always mentioned, when you start to think in that language, that is the point. That is when you really understand, when you really feel that you speak that language.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's really important to write the essay or whatever, letter or whatever you want to write
In that language. In that language.
Yeah.
Good. That's a great rule. Yeah, cool. One more.
And last one, guys. Probably not such a big case of death, but still important. Big wordserization. Imagine if we told you to terminate the utilization of intemperate confabulations, rather than just telling you stop using unnecessary words.
Okay. There's also a
Be
big.
simple, express simple, yeah?
Yes, express simply, right? It's one of those things people tend to think that if you use bigger words, you sound more important, more sophisticated, more official. Yes, but no. Speaking simply and clean is gonna represent you the best way.
You know what is interesting? That in Romanian it's the opposite.
Yes, this is also why I hate translating from Romanian to English. Yes, I hate it.
To be complex sentences and very sophisticated, they are more appreciated than simple. But it's more specific for English.
Yes. I guess for sure. Yeah. It's beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. I like hearing. I like people. In some ways, I like people translating directly from Romanian to English, but not in an application essay, right? Not in something official like that. Yeah.
Okay, so how to fix this problem? The solution which we propose is plain English, and we had an entire presentation devoted to plain English. So we're here. It was with Marta Kuhar. We're here. Plain English. Talking about my plain English.
What means plain?
Plain English. What does it mean? It's a style of communication that uses easy to understand, plain language with an emphasis on clarity, brevity, and avoidance of overly complex vocabulary. Scurt, clar și cuprinzător. Okay?
In the international companies, they have a standard for English, and they don't use any terms but present term. No future, no would, no had, no just everything in present and simple sentence.
So plain English, yes, it's a trend. Many laws, many companies now follow this trend, and they write these laws and letters and communication in a way that's easier for people to understand. The idea here is that you should write your personal statement for an intelligent person from the street. Like you stop an intelligent person from the street, okay, give him your essay, and he reads it and he understands it. He doesn't have to be a specialist in finance or a specialist in IT or a specialist in biology to be able to understand what you wrote there. Okay, that's the point.
However, is there any places where it's appreciated if you know the technical jargon, when it's appreciated when you use?
Yeah, I mean, if you're writing, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're writing a lab report, yes. If you're writing a scientific article, yes. But an application essay, no. It doesn't. It's not going to impress them with your big vocabulary. It's going to be annoying. Is the idea?
I mean, it's appreciated when you can put sophisticated ideas in simple sentences.
Yes, that's better. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, sophisticated ideas in simple language, right? That's demonstrating that's demonstrating intelligence.
Okay, I think that is it. That is the end of the presentation. We also prepared for you this brainstorming activities, which we thought that you can do in groups, discuss these questions. There are 5 questions here. Basically, it's absolutely, I don't think we have time to do it today. We kind of ran out of time. But if you are going to write an essay, it's absolutely vital to answer these 5 questions. What experiences or education have made you want to pursue this MBA program? Why? Okay. Another one. When did you first become interested in this field of study? When? Was it yesterday? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? What kind of events?
And by the way, guys, about that, if you've had a life where you've tried out different stuff, right? Don't be afraid to mention that, right? Don't be afraid to. You don't have to be a person who, from the day he was born, knew he wanted to apply to an MBA, right? But think of how you present it. Present it in a way that shows you as a curious person, not as a lost person. Okay?
So these are questions around of which we can build this.
Yeah, like think about kiss of death number 2, lack of stories, lack of life experiences. If you don't answer these questions before you start writing the essay, you will probably have no story, no interesting story, no life experiences in your essay. You also need to do research about the school and think about your short-term and long-term goals. But this is probably the starting point. Okay, so please, before starting writing, answer all these 5 questions for yourself. Talk to your friend, talk to your mom, talk to your mother. That helps. And finally, a couple of slacks of packs. Sorry. Yes. So some smaller things which you want to avoid, and these are good pieces of advice when you are already writing an essay. When you're not at the stage where you're still like thinking and planning, you're already writing.
Okay. These are general writing tips. We can sort of do idioms and cliches. Leave it. Don't include it. Okay? It's annoying. It's annoying, and I want to hear from you. I don't want to hear like general ideas. I don't like to hear. We know idioms and cliches, right? I don't want to hear life is beautiful. I don't want to hear all's fair in love and war. I don't want to hear any of this stuff, right? Really avoid it. And like I said before, avoid using quotes. Yeah? You speak. Certain phrases that are overused and don't have a lot of meaning. It goes without saying and needless to say. Right? In some ways, I hate these expressions. I use them, but they're idiotic in a way. Right? Needless to say, blah, 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 blah. So why are you saying that? Right? It's not literal. What do you say? Needless to say, they're annoying. You don't want to be presenting, right? So at the end of your language, don't say stuff like "in conclusion," "lastly," "finally." You should have structured your essay and those sentences set up in the way so that the reader knows you're finishing. Yeah, he should be led to believe that you're wrapping up your idea. You've made your point, and he knows you're finishing making your point because you've actually made it. Don't present it to him like that was my point, and he didn't know except for the fact that you told him, right? He should know himself that you're the end of it. Okay. For example, if it's ironic, don't say ironically. Tell your ironic story in a way so that he sees the irony, the reader. Okay? No, and I guess we could print this out if you want to take it. It's okay. No problem. Avoid using words that just add clutter. A lot of adjectives. Yeah? A lot of adverbs. I'm sorry. Stephen King every day, I think, writes like 700 words without any adverbs. Okay? You should try. You should try to use strong adjectives. What are strong adjectives, guys? Any idea what strong is? Huh? Very is not a strong adjective. See, that's what you don't want to use very all the time. So, for example, if you want to say something's very hot, how could you say very hot? Boiling, for example, right? If you want to say something's good, what can you say? Great, very great? No. What's a stronger adjective? Tremendous. Yeah? Something tasty is? Delicious. Something small is? Tiny, minuscule, something like this, yeah? Okay? Use stronger words. Not just bigger words, right? Tiny isn't a big word, right? But it's better than saying very small, okay? And don't overuse, and this is all about reducing clutter. Yeah, so for example, if people sometimes will say, in order to, when you can just say to, okay? In order doesn't make you sound like a genius, or William Shakespeare, okay? There are some times where you need in order to. But in cases where you can just write to, save the space and just write to. This in order is not doing anything for you. Don't use like too much. I use like to. Every native speaker uses like too much now. Yeah? Be exact, be bold, right? Like means it's sort of like this. Don't say something is sort of like this. Say exactly what it is. And don't rely on spell. I remember this when I was applying to school, this lady. Don't rely on spell check. These are both spelled correctly. The candy striper and the candy stripper. Okay? Candy striper. Do you know what a candy striper is? A candy striper is a term for volunteer nurses that we have in the U.S. Yeah? People. So there's one girl, she was writing her essay about how every weekend she worked as a candy striper. She went to a hospital and worked there as a volunteer. But she spelled it like this. Okay? Candy stripper. It's something very different. Okay? So you have to be careful. And these are some rules for writers. Interestingly, they are both a very similar list. So two different writers. George Orwell and Kurt Vonnegut, right? Never use a metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech which you are used to seeing in print, so stay away from that. Never use a long word when a short one will do. If it's possible to cut a word out, cut it out. Kill it. Kill it. Never use the passive where you can use the active. This is great too. Avoid the passive. Never use a foreign phrase, a scientific word, or a jargon word if you can think of an everyday English equivalent. Okay? You're not going to impress them with the jargon, you know. Okay? If anything, you're going to impress them by explaining maybe industry-specific ideas in everyday language. That's impressive. To be able to explain something like that. Kurt Vonnegut. Subject you care about. Why it's important not to lie so much, right? You should actually care about what you're writing about. Do not ramble, though. Keep it simple. Have the guts to... What does it mean, have the guts?
Courage.
Yeah.
Courage. Have the courage, yeah? Have the... sound like yourself. Say what you mean to say. Just say. And pity the reader. Pity the reader. Imagine the poor guy who's reading your essay. Okay? Okay? Keep him in mind when you're writing. And yeah. That's all, guys. Well, can I go print this out? Where is this?
Yeah.
Do you have a file?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or we can send it to you electronically if you want.
Yeah.
It will take some time. I have your email address here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just send it to you. It's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And in your handout, you have more stuff which than we had in the presentation. So you can do some more examples. You can read it at home.
And guys, you can find examples. There's lots of examples of successful MBA application essays, right? Don't copy them and style off yours too directly. Just use them. Read through some of them. Get an idea of what people were successful with, and come up with something.
Thank you very much.